Airports, it did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he fucked up.
Yeah, he did. But I feel like that's you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you could tell he like messed up his words, but yeah. He was just, I don't know.
To go over the airports.
Well, that's the thing about media these days. It's like,
right.
You gotta look into it.
I gotta say, Joe Rogan might have a reputation of not being a bullshitter, but that was some bullshit. Notice how quickly the mockery stopped once these two guys found out that the person who made such an idiotic comment.
Just caught a glimpse of Brian Tyler Cohen's latest? Well, we've got the full clip queued up for the grand finale, so don't go anywhere. Trust me, you're going to want to catch every moment. But first, we've got a juicy topic on deck. Joe Rogan just put his foot in it, and Trump was the target right on his own show. Get ready to dive into the details. And hey, while you're here, help us keep these conversations flowing. Smash that like button and hit subscribe for a front row seat to all the top-notch clips and chatter we have in store. Let's get started. Accomplishments, from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to the American Rescue Plan, and Biden's track record increasingly becomes not a point of ridicule, but one of envy. The way misinformation and selective perception played out in the incident with Joe Rogan and his guest highlights a broader issue. The eagerness to jump on any potential gaffe by Joe Biden is a symptom of an opposition party grasping at straws, looking to undermine a presidency that, in terms of policy and results, is undeniably positive. This isn't just about poor media literacy. It's about a concerted effort to distract from the successes of the Biden administration. Rogan's reaction and its ensuing flip once the truth was revealed signals an instinctive bias, one that's become all too common in today's political landscape. The discussion wasn't about seeking the truth or engaging in fair analysis. It was about seizing any opportunity to discredit Biden until the credit belonged to Trump. The pivot from criticism to excuses illustrates how some are willing to bend over backwards to forgive their champions while remaining ruthlessly critical of their opponents, regardless of the facts. And let's not overlook the glaring irony here. Trump's tenure was marked by a continual stream of verbal misstep, yet his advocates were unfazed, normalizing the butchering of historical facts, among other things. When Biden artfully navigates the political terrain, his detractors are quick to pounce on any stumble, real or imagined, in an attempt to equate the occasional gaffe with cognitive incompetence. Yet Joe Biden has consistently shown that he is anything but inept. His administration's handling of the pandemic, their concerted effort toward addressing climate change, the bipartisan approach to infrastructure. These are testament to a presidency that is not only competent, but is genuinely striving to address the nation's problems with sincerity and dedication. In the end, Joe Rogan and his guests' error serves as a powerful reminder of the responsibility that comes with a platform, to research before speaking, to correct misinformation, and importantly, to resist the partisan temptation to distort reality to fit a preconceived narrative. Meanwhile, Biden continues to plow ahead, with a clear vision for America and a commitment to its people, continuously proving his doubters wrong.
Airports, it did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he fucked up.
Yeah, he did. But I feel like that's you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you could tell he like messed up his words, but yeah. He's just, I don't know.
To go over the airports.
Well, that's the thing about media these days. It's like,
right.
You gotta look into it.
I gotta say, Joe Rogan might have a reputation of not being a bullshitter, but that was some bullshit. Notice how quickly the mockery stopped once these two guys found out that the person who made such an idiotic comment wasn't, in fact, Joe Biden, but Donald Trump himself. Suddenly it was all excuses on behalf of Trump, suggesting that either being a raving lunatic isn't disqualifying anymore, or that these guys are just naked partisans looking for any excuse to attack Biden. Take all the time you need with that one. Like, I'm sorry, but Rogan literally says, "You're done," when he thought that it was Biden who made the gaffe. But then as soon as he realizes it was Trump, well, you see, it was just a mix-up. He just fucked up, no big deal, we all make mistakes. Rogan's guest even says this.
That's the thing about media these days. It's like,
right.
You gotta look into it.
That's the thing about the media these days, you gotta look into it. Yeah, you gotta look into it because if you don't, you're left taking your cues from these guys who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, who think that Trump's moronic ramblings were said by his opponent. If these guys didn't get fact check on Rogan's own show, then everyone listening to this segment would have thought that it was Biden who said that airports existed during the Revolutionary War. So yeah, that is the thing about media these days. It is distorted by uninformed people like this. And look, I get why Republicans and those in the right-wing media ecosystem are so desperate to paint Joe Biden as being incompetent. The first is that the actual facts present a much different story. Joe Biden is presiding over the strongest recovery in American history. He's added the most jobs of any president in the history of this country. Unemployment's been below 4% for the longest stretch in over 50 years. GDP is surging, with the most recent quarter exceeding even 5%. Inflation is down and real wages are up, and consumer sentiment is now skyrocketing. This is the economy that Republicans campaigned on creating while failing to do so every single time. Add that to the list of legislative accomplishments: the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act,